recording, and Casey has his microphone back, and there was no
Yay.
ridiculousness involved in that entire process of finding it. It all went
Totally
smooth,
didn't
and
find
he
it in the
just.
kitchen.
I don't know why it was in the kitchen. It was on the floor in the kitchen.
At least it wasn't
Honestly,
in the
that
fridge.
says more about you than anything.
This is what happens when you live alone. You just stop caring where you put things, and so you put things in stupid places.
I see.
Like who is
So
going
that's
to
the angle
complain
you
at
choose.
me that I decided to, for some reason, one, unplug my microphone cable. I presume because it was annoying me because it was in the way and dangling in front of all my other shit. And then two,
Hmm.
decided to not just put it, in general vicinity so it was, right there with the microphone to make sense. No, I decided to just pick it up, get out of my chair, turn around, head straight into the kitchen, and throw it on the floor for some reason. But
Yeah.
upside, I did find my
Yeah.
camera that we used to record Zero Interest. Not that that means anything in terms of like recording anything, but it's nice to know that that still exists in corporeal form in my home.
Yeah.
Not that I'm going to do anything with it.
Mhm.
That's not a coy way of saying, "Oh, stay tuned" or whatever. No, I'm literally not going to do anything with it. I'm just surprised that I found it. It's nice.
So afraid of committing.
Stop it. Don't give people false hope that we're going to revive shows because we're absolutely fucking not. Did you notice that fucking Anime Reflux just kind of quietly died? Yeah, we just stopped
The
recording
only
those one day, and I stopped uploading them. Like I have like 10 episodes that should probably go up at some point. Like
only reason why they stopped is because you stopped doing it.
pretty much, like
Mhm.
we don't record podcasts all of the time now, and that might be because it's we often don't have things to talk about, and sometimes it's just kind of a hassle, and we'll have shit to do and things like that. It just kind of happens. But you know, I don't know where I was going with this, but that's that's the
You're
situation.
just afraid of creating content.
Yeah, I'm just not that kind of person that just goes all in. Well, not all in on the YouTuber slash podcaster, whatever you want to fucking call it, lifestyle. I don't truck with that so much. Like writing shit, I can do that and drive myself insane and burn myself the fuck out and feel miserably and shame of just like inability to
Hmm.
get words down on a fucking Word document. That's totally in line with something I would do and am doing currently as we speak. But I
Yeah.
am. I'm a
Yeah.
little. I'm coming in a little hot today for some reason. I'm not entirely. Maybe
Hmm.
I'm excited because I did actually find my microphone cable because I was very sure it was just fucking lost forever.
Do
So
you still enjoy doing this, Casey?
sorry, didn't catch that.
I said, do you still enjoy doing this?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, it's
I've
Mm.
been.
honestly, it's mostly just an excuse to hang out and talk about shit. That's
Yeah,
literally it.
That's fair, then.
true.
Yeah, and
Uh,
Anime Reflux was kind of a commitment of talking about shit that I don't care about more often than not. That's kind of how the show worked. Is most 90% of everything is crap. Is the idiom, and yeah, bears out when you pick from a proverbial hat of anime, and just watch an episode. Most of them are shit, and it's
We
not really fun to talk about.
came across quite a few gems, though. I still remember Plastic Memories bringing me to tears, and
Yeah,
Eto Tama's utter disrespect for the fourth wall was hilarious.
yeah, and
yeah.
that one anime that has the meme of the girls dancing and then one of them's gets like lit up with gunfire halfway through. I can't remember what the name of the show was, but that was cute as fuck. I love that one.
I don't remember that one.
It was about the Rakugo Theater. The five girls that do Rakugo.
And no, that's at Otama, wasn't it?
Was it Etotama?
Uh, let me see.
I don't remember. But there was the gangster one, like gangsters in like Prohibition era gangsters, and that's something days. I can't remember what it was called, but that one was cool as hell, and I watched that entirely on my own time. Uh, I enjoyed that one.
Now I'm thinking of a different. At Otama, that was another good one that we came across. It's not the one. Joe Shiraku, that's the one we're thinking of.
Joshiraku, yeah, yeah. Ladies of Rakugo generally is what that translates to. I think something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why
So
would you even make an anime out of this?
how would you even make a what?
Why would you even make an anime out of this?
Yep, that was the joke of the first episode. Is what the fuck are they doing? Why did they do this? That was a good one. I enjoyed that one a lot. It was very cool. And it has the immortal dance sequence of yeah, that one girl getting shot to shit for some reason. Yeah, that thing's cool, and has been replicated many times by cosplayers and other performers and such. It's cool. Anyway, how are we doing? Are we good?
Did you know
No.
that the new Marvel movie has come out?
I did. Brave New World. Is it a Brave New World? Is it a new world in
So,
which Marvel films can be good again?
so, my okay, I have to say, I didn't actually get to see it on launch on, opening week. But my parents did. Valentine's weekend, they go to see the Marvel movie, Captain America: Brave New World.
Okay.
They go without me. I'm doing D&D and stuff, so
Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
fine. And their response when they get back is, "Yeah, no, that was terrible."
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And my my dad was like, "I'd put that below Eternals,"
Oh, that's terrible.
which I he might just be uh, a little bit overly critical on that. But I mean, they do. This is actually a follow-up to the Eternals as well, apparently,
Oh god, that is a mistake on so many levels. I did not.
and a
I
follow-up to.
I honestly thought they were gonna just leave that in the fucking dumpster and just let it go.
Yeah, no, they're still treating it as if the events still happened. And I mean, everybody's seen Red Hulk in all of the trailers. You know that's going to happen. So the surprise is completely ruined, right?
Yeah, totally. I totally watched those trailers that exist somewhere, probably.
But it's
Wait, I did actually watch the trailer now. Think about it. I can't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
anything in
You
it, but
just
I did
didn't
watch it.
remember. You just didn't
Yeah,
remember, right?
yeah.
Because
Like,
it's
who
not
cares?
memorable.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of the issue is they're trying to set him up as the new leader of the new Avengers, right? The new Captain America.
Yeah.
And like I like the character.
Falcon's cool.
Yeah, Falcon's cool. Um and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a fun show. I
It could.
wasn't it
Uh,
had some
it,
major problems that showed up towards the end,
it had some
but I
promise.
enjoyed it.
There was some good stuff in
Yeah.
there.
There was some good stuff in there. And so like you're like, okay, maybe they can make it work, right? Maybe there's something here. And the end result is eh,
That's not the answer to you. For the film that was kind of supposed to like bring things back and just like reinvigorate things, that's kind of not the response you want to
is
have.
I think the issue is um it's actually very simple. It's just script. Having good scripts with characters that change and develop.
Does it have the typical Marvel problem? You know the one.
My mom wished there was more quips in it. Um, But the main, my understanding is that the main conflict of it, the main character conflict, is that Falcon is feeling, you know, not so confident because he does not have the super soldier serum, which is the same plot thread that existed in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Not really. It was very much a much more personal conflict in Winter Soldier that he felt he couldn't live up to Cap for reasons of Cap being Cap, not Cap being a super soldier.
Yeah, but it's still the same thing of him not being enough.
I guess it is kind of it's not a repetition, but it is a rhyme. They're doing a very similar thing over again.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that was the way to go.
Generally speaking, you don't want a character to be defined by another character entirely
Yeah,
anyway.
you're defining him by who he's not, not who he is.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of a problem.
A little bit. A little bit.
Now, I have seen the other trailers for the other Marvel stuff that dropped over at like Super Bowl Sunday and all that.
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts.
The film that we kind of thought that was sort of done for a while there. We did talk about that several times. Of like, oh yeah, this
Yeah.
film's kind of screwed.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually have some amount of hope for it.
It could look worse, but I still kind of don't care about any of the characters in it, with the odd
I mean, yeah,
exception
fair.
of U.S. Agent.
Yes. I like US Agent. I feel like he was a very interesting character from Falcon and the Winter Soldier that I'd like to see how they handle him in the future.
He's the
Um,
character with an arc, is what I would say. Like you've got Bucky, but Bucky is
yes.
very clearly at the end of his arc. You've got what's her name, White Widow or whatever they're calling her, and you've got Red Guardian, and they're like they don't really have anything of their own. And I've forgotten who number 5 is.
Ghost from Ant-Man 2.
I never knew who number 5 is. I still don't know who that is, and I watched Ant Man 2.
She's the lady who can phase into things and whose entire conflict in Ant-Man 2 could be resolved with a conversation.
Not ringing a bell.
Yeah.
In fairness, the entire
Any
concept of this movie is all of the forgotten characters that no one cares about.
yeah, and let's turn them into a Guardians of the Galaxy Suicide Squad X esque force that maybe they're all good together instead of being forgettable separate.
Mm, yeah, because Bucky kind of
And
has nothing now that Cap's gone. He's done.
yeah, a- and I can see the appeal of depending on how the dynamic like that entire movie is going to like sink or swim depending on how well written the character dynamics are.
And the cast chemistry, yeah. Like that's
Yeah.
generally the fact of an ensemble cast is if they don't gel well together, you've got nothing.
Yes. If they like if they have an exceptional amount of like these characters work together, um their interactions are fun to see. Then boom, look, we got Thunderbolts too in the future, right?
Yeah,
But the last time they tried to introduce a new ensemble group, as in
yeah,
like actual full-on group, was Eternals.
yeah.
Didn't work out so well.
I would like to
I don't
like
count
just
the Marvels in this.
I would like to remind everyone that there still is functionally no Avengers.
Yeah, it's this was. Did you see the Fantastic Four trailer?
No, because I don't care about Fantastic Four in the slightest.
I don't pay much attention to any of the superhero trailers. I've never been hugely against or for superhero films, but I'm not I just don't have a whole lot of faith to spare in them these days.
Yeah,
Okay, Well, Fantastic Four has like a retro futurism thing going on, which is really fun to see.
Okay, so they're doing the vacuum tube thing.
Yeah, and they're also like they're trying to go as classic Fantastic Four as they can, I guess. And they have Galactus show up in the trailer.
That's a big swing.
Yeah. So I'm really curious how that's going to go because that's before the next Avengers movie,
Huh.
which is Avengers Doomsday, which is where you have Robert Downey Jr. playing as Doctor Doom.
So Galactus is going to be a side thing, presumably from that. And that's a little surprise. It's surprising, but it's not surprising. No one gives a shit about Galactus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the thing I'm predicting is he eats their world and they escape into the main MCU or something.
Something like that. Which, if they're doing a retrofuturism thing, that means they're definitely not in the actual MCU. So.
Yes, they are definitely not. So we'll see how that goes.
Just
I don't
kind
know.
of, you get the vibe that a lot of this multiverse crap is basically, hey, we can't find a way to naturally bring these characters into the setting, so we're just gonna fucking use multiverse as an excuse and just slap them in.
Yeah, basically, they're just trying to repair the actual Marvel universe, put characters back in that should have already been there, stuff like that.
Yeah, like I, I, I was gonna say I don't know how to feel about that. I don't like that. Just like explicitly, it feels lazy. It feels cheap. If they were to actually build them into the setting, they would feel more real, but they're not. So they feel like just extras rather than important characters that they should be.
Yeah, it's it's tough. Like they're not giving up on the MCU, but
They would have to lose a
I
lot of money before they give up on the MCU. Let's be real.
yeah, but I just worry that we're gonna be in a downward trend for a while
Yeah.
because I like Marvel movies. I like superhero movies. And I like them when they're good.
Yeah,
Just
usually you like
genuinely
good
good
things.
films.
Good things are usually good.
It's not like I just like every single one that comes out, you know.
Hmm.
Um but man, it's tough. It's tough. It's Bleh. Um then there's the new Superman movie coming out and I might actually like that. They have Crypto the dog in it and I like Crypto the dog. The super dog rather.
Now, see, that is an appealing thing to include, but I still don't have a whole lot of faith in them to do it right. And this seems like a very, very tricky thing to do right.
Hmm. And it's
I think
it's very much on the camp side to include the superhero dog, and that's a choice. It's a bold choice. We'll call it that.
go for more camp.
Sure.
The old DC EU did not have enough camp. It tried to be so serious, dark, and gritty all the time.
Yep. It's well known.
It forgot some of the things that made it fun, you know?
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because I haven't seen the Marvel, the newest Captain America Brave New World. Yeah, that's what it's called. I haven't seen it. My parents saw it. They didn't like it. And they typically like most of these movies. So it's pretty rare for them to be both just okay, we didn't like that.
Mm.
Um, I'm probably just gonna wait for it to go on streaming, you know?
Mm.
I just want to see the movie to see like form an actual opinion on it.
Mm.
But I'm not going out there and spending my evening to go see a movie that I probably won't like. Speaking of movies, I also went back and I saw on streaming, just out of curiosity, Kung Fu Panda 4.
Oh, that one. The one where what's her
Yeah,
name?
and
The woman who has mm, questionable reason to be in movies is taking over, kind of thing. Is the idea?
yes. Um, Now, admittedly, like, okay, how do I approach this? When I first talked about my review of this movie to some friends, it was while we were doing a Criterion Dungeon in FF14. And listening to me rant about this got them so locked in that we managed to clear the Criterion after about a year of trying to. So apparently it has that going for it.
Yeah, fuck this movie. Let's kill in the name of fuck this movie, I guess.
Yeah. Um, so Kung
Pretend
Fu
it's
Panda 4
Aquafina.
is,
Kill it.
oh yeah. Okay.
That was a joke, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
And
I
YouTube,
know.
especially YouTube. Fucking Christ.
Kung Fu Panda 4 starts with Poe as the dragon warrior who now must find a successor to retire so he can become the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace. I mean, there's no reason why he needs to retire right now, honestly speaking. Like, seriously, he's still
We've
young.
run out of story. So
Yes. Originally, there were supposed to be like six Kung Fu Panda movies. So it feels like they cut out 4 and 5 and made, let's just end it. We're done with Kung Fu Panda. Please end it. Stop. End it.
I am kind
Uh,
of surprised by that. I haven't seen any of the Kung Fu Panda movies myself. I'm always kind of I'm always kind of iffy when it comes to Jack Black's unique brand of humor. But I have heard nothing but praise for the first three movies from people whose opinions I asked for of it. It's interesting if the first three films are indeed that good that they trip on their faces on the fourth one.
Uh, well, that's kind of the thing with a success story is well, the thing that made people like the original films is kind of going away and being replaced by this new thing. So you better like this new thing, I guess. And that's kind of the crux of the
Mm,
issue.
yeah, that does kind of seem fundamentally flawed, all things considered.
um, Kung Fu Panda 4 really, what really shines about Kung Fu Panda 4 is how they couldn't get back all the voice actors.
Oh dear.
The Furious Five have zero speaking lines and are basically pushed until like showing up at the very end, and then they say nothing, despite them being the primary characters alongside Poe for the last few movies.
Hmm. To be
Bit of
clear, by the way,
a
I
bit of
have
an
not seen these movies, so I am 100% talking out of my ass. But I have seen clips of
yeah,
Aquafina doing a thing. That is my only exposure to these films, and they were not great ones. So I'm just gonna
yeah.
put that out there so everyone knows.
First couple of movies, I never saw. I realized after I was watching four, oh, I never saw three.
Hmm.
Um, 1 and 2 were good, and three I heard was also good. I thought I had seen it, but I remembered wrong. But Kung Fu Panda 4 is about like the successor story, but also there's this villain, this shape-shifting sorceress called the Chameleon, who is taking on the forms of previous villains. And her whole power involves basically stealing the souls of previous martial artists and villains and becoming the biggest and the strongest.
Sorry, that
Um,
plan is always just funny. Look at me, I can turn into the people you already beat. Wait a minute, there's a flaw in this plan.
I can combine all their martial arts, and um, the only previous villain they got back was the voice of Tai Lung in terms of voice actors, who was
Was that
the
the
villain
tiger?
from the first movie.
Was that the tiger?
Yeah, the White Tiger guy. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one they kind of needed to get. Is what I understand.
they got him. None of the other villains have any spoken lines. Um, Combine that with the missing Furious Five, the who are again some of the main characters that Poe, our main panda guy, built strong connections with during the previous movies, who again are gone for the entirety of the movie until the very end, which they are there for like 30 seconds, without spoken lines. It's sometimes you go out with a bang, and sometimes you go out with a sad, wet fart, and this kind of felt like that.
So not exactly high
Uh,
hopes for Kung Fu Gopher or whatever the fuck she's supposed to be.
there's not going to be any more. There's no way. Like I'm very certain that this franchise is like dead.
That's a shame. Still, I guess that's some films that I like. Are worth seeing. Is 1, 2, and 3. It's just yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I like Jack Black. I
Um
like Jack Black's shtick. He's usually entertaining.
yeah. 1, 2, 3 is good, and from my understanding 3 is the actual ending
Huh.
of the franchise. Like they have a satisfactory ending,
Even better.
which is why 4 is confusing as to why it exists.
Because we need more movies.
So it is. I mean, it has its fun set pieces, but like the more I look back on it, the more I'm like, this feels like if you were to take episodes of a Kung Fu Panda TV show, which there was,
Naturally.
um, up to the budget a bit and staple them together, and boom, there you go. It feels like a made for TV villain.
Mm.
So yeah, it says something that Kung Fu Panda won the Annie Awards for Best Animated Feature. Then 2 and 3 were nominated, and 4 is not listed at all for any of that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, so that's film stuff. In the gaming sphere, I've not been doing much. I cleared that fight. It was the Aloe Aloe Criterion, which I've been working on for a long time with my group, which may or may not be due to the fact that we only do it like once a week, and sometimes we just miss weeks. And the thing about raiding with other people, especially when you have a small group, like a group of 4,
Yeah.
like the Criterion Dungeons requires 4 people, right? That means every person has a very personal responsibility for what happens. If you're like in an 8-man raid and you die once, that's okay. Other people exist that can cover for you for a bit, right?
Yep. Unless you're doing like the ultimate bullshit and stuff, savages and whatever.
No, you can still die in an ultimate.
Hmm.
Like that's fine. Like you don't want deaths. It makes it a little bit harder, but you can still afford to die at some points. Um, but a Criterion has very limited reses, as in each player only gets 1 res
Uh.
until they defeat the next boss. So if somebody starts a death spiral, that's basically it. You have to start over on the boss because it's a super dungeon, right? It's 3 super powerful bosses, 2 waves of ads that have unique mechanics you have to learn to take down. Really, really fun. And what I'm trying to get at is that when you do this sort of stuff, you really get to learn a lot about the people that you chose to go into this with. And you learn who is quick to pick up mechanics and who is slow to pick up mechanics.
And who might drop the ball under pressure.
And who absolutely drops the ball under pressure?
Is it you?
It's not me.
Yeah, sure.
No, it's actually not me, but the person who it is, I feel really bad for, like, I don't want to be mean to them,
Yeah,
right?
no.
But I'm just like, there's this part of my brain, there's this toxic raider part of my brain that I'm like, if we had a slightly different team, it wouldn't have taken us a year.
Yeah, you do something long enough, it's real easy to start picking out the weak link.
Because it's like, okay, I've got the mechanic down, I'm good to go on. Boom, they got the mechanic down, they're good to go on. Boom, they got the mechanic down, they're good to go on. And you, I'm going to explain this to you for the fourth time so that we don't wipe again.
Hmm.
And I'm going to make a diagram for you so that you know the mechanic just for you. And then a couple weeks later, they forget it. Frustrating. um, and like it gets worse when you do ultimate rating. Because ultimate rating, there's some groups that you go in there with, and you're like, this group will never clear this fight. Like as they are now, this group is not going to clear. And then you just end up wasting a couple hours trying with that group, or you like abandon that group and go look for some group that could. So high level rating is toxic.
Hmm.
Um, I'd I'd rather just go play PvP, which is its own form of toxic, but
Hmm.
I get lots of kills and I feel good about myself,
Yeah, that'll do it.
which is nice. There was a FF14 live letter. Um, I didn't look much into it, but they're adding the like space exploration stuff and the um big exploration, new open area exploration side mode, similar to Bosch and Eureka, for Dawn Trail, and that's gonna be fun. Um, but I've not been doing much stuff with video games. I've actually been reading a lot, and I'm hesitant to even recommend the stuff that I've been reading just because I feel like it's kind of
Smutty.
not great. No, not even naughty, just not great. Um, I wish it was naughty.
I can't believe you described it as naughty. Like, fucking. Okay.
Naughty, naughty.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. That's it for what I can talk about right now.
Hmm.
I'm gonna stop yapping. You continue on.
Oh, patient, how's it going? I won't continue on. Patient can continue.
It's been going all right. I've by now completed Metaphor Phantasmio, or at least I've managed the first playthrough. Now I'm on New Game Plus, and I'm finding it just about as fresh the second time around.
Hmm.
This is a very, very good game.
I love that game.
Yep, yep. Yeah, it's got the kind of plot that really keeps you guessing the whole way through, and I love that.
I think
All those
ReFantazio
reveals.
spoiled me.
Yeah, I mean, that's Atlas for you. Every time that they do something new, they just keep setting the bar higher and higher and higher. I don't know
Yeah.
what they're going to do next.
I'd like ReFantazio too, please. Thank you.
I'm gonna assume it's gonna be Persona 6.
I don't want
Would
Persona 6. I want
Probably.
ReFantazio too, please.
I mean, I'll be fine with either one. Persona, they've set the bar extremely high with the Phantom Thieves of Hearts. I don't know where they go up from there, but I'm eager to find out. On the other hand, now we have a whole new world to play with, and I'm just as eager to see where that goes. So yeah, just working on re-unlocking everything and everyone, and working my way towards being able to tackle the Book of Apocalypse. We'll see how that goes. No,
Yeah.
let's see. Work is going interestingly. Um, The company still is still laboring under the delusion that they're allowed to forbid me from accumulating overtime. They won't be able to they won't be able to try pushing for that much longer because my manager has now pushed my only other coworker into putting in her 2 weeks notice by way of a distinct lack of tactfulness, let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a couple of weeks, I will be back to the circumstances I was in this time a couple of years ago, working as the only dedicated teller at my branch, alone, without a lunch break, every day, Monday through Friday. Because the rest of the market is so short staffed that they can't provide any coverage.
Oh.
I heard something funny. This is third hand, so I don't know if it actually happened, but I don't doubt that it's true. The higher ups were saying at one point that they didn't see why we were having such trouble. I mean, I've spoken of the turnover rate before, but they disagree with that. They say that the Austin market has the lowest turnover rate in the market.
Gonna take it that's not especially true, or at least definitely doesn't feel like that on the ground.
Listen to what I said. It's complete nonsense. The Austin market has the lowest turnover rate in the market.
Ah.
Of course, it's low if you're competing only against yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, that also means they have the highest turnover rate. If we want to talk about it mathematically.
So yeah, that's where I stand on the work front. My coworker will be with me for the remainder of the month, and then starting in March, I'll be alone again. And we'll see how long my manager lasts in this role, because my coworker is going to be rather explicit about the fact that it's him that's making her leave. She loves the job, but she can't put up with him. So I don't know what all is going to unfold for the remainder of the month, but I have a sneaking suspicion that they're not going to want to get rid of a manager simply because they're already having the devil's own time keeping the ones they have. I mean, we just lost a manager last week.
Mm-hmm.
I am unashamed to say that this company is a sinking ship in this market, and I am but a parasite trying to squeeze as much blood from it as I can until it collapses.
Well, that's generally how it works for companies that are successful as well. So it's not really a moral quandary right there.
No, and I'm not losing any sleep over it.
Yeah.
I grew jaded with this company a long time ago.
You get paid for your time, you do your job, and that's the end of it.
That is indeed the end. And aside from that, not a whole lot else going on. I'm still working on my health from more than one perspective, and I feel like I'm coming closer to a breakthrough. It's an excruciating process to get there, though. And
I can sympathize on that one. I am desperately trying to get exercise routines in and remember to do them and all that stuff that I have failed to do for a long time. I'm getting better about it, but
it's easy for me, well, easier for me because I have the opportunity to just walk a couple of blocks to work every day. So that's how I'm getting my exercise in when it's not rainy outside.
I have taken up. I'm not quite sure what the proper term for it is. I have seen wall sits and wall squats as the name for it,
Mm,
which is supposed to be very good for blood pressure. Basically, you stand it with your back against the wall, squat down until like your knees are at a 90-degree angle, and then just hold that position for as long as you can. It is surprisingly stressful very quickly.
Oh yes, oh yes. I mean that's right on the cusp of a 90-degree angle is hard.
It's a fun one though. Gonna be honest.
Yeah,
I do. It's odd because they're hard as fuck, but I do like doing them because it's not
yeah.
complicated. I don't have to worry about whether I'm doing it wrong because it's so simple.
Simplicity does make things more appealing. Also, starting to get to the core of the issues I'm struggling with from a mental perspective as well. But I'll wait to talk about those until I've actually gotten there. As it is, I'm not even sure I can put it into words. I've, excuse me, identified some of the root causes, but I'm struggling to figure out what's needed to undo the damage from that point. So it's a work in progress, and I am progressing. So that's all I can ask for at this point. Not sure there's a whole lot else going on besides that. Nothing else I'm hugely passionate about at the moment.
Okay.
So how have you been, Casey?
Well, I'm currently fishing in ZZZ because I'm a loser, but also because hey, it's a very like low thought task for me to do while we're recording. It's neat, I guess. Anyway, I don't really have much to say about ZZZ, so I just mentioned it because I'm literally playing it right now.
Yeah, there's not much to say right now.
Yeah, just waiting for things to talk about. You know, Evelyn's cool. I was gonna say Ellen. Ellen is also cool. I got her like a month ago, but yeah. But I've continued to play Dragon Quest 11. I say continued. I don't know whether I had actually started over when we last recorded, or mentioned it, but yeah, I started over and played a bit more reasonably instead of just walking around all the enemies like I could the first time. So I have progressed into Act 2. I don't know whether to talk spoilers about this game that came out 8 years ago.
Do your best.
Okay, I'm gonna say I think King Carnelian should have died. that's not me doing a good job of not spoiling things, but it's an okay job of me not spoiling things. The drama of that whole thing would probably have been better if he just fucking died instead of what actually happened, which is him continuing to boss you around as if he didn't screw you over at every opportunity in Act 1. Like, he, in air quotes, but still, him getting on his high horse at every opportunity it really rubs the wrong way. Just, like, not an ounce of, like, regret or apology in anything he says at any point, and commands you like you're one of his soldiers when he's literally been trying to kill you for the entire game. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't feel great. And it doesn't feel great that you have to go along with it because that's how Dragon Quest works. You don't get choices. Yeah, that game is still cool. I have been enjoying it a lot. The additional stuff for the special super edition that they put in I want to say the Switch version, and then it got backported to PC. Um, that stuff that is all like 2D is kind of sucks, and I hate it. I hate it a lot. Like you talk about all the franchises that were so great back in the retro era of top down like tile based JRPGs. I don't think Dragon Quest was one of them. I'm sure Japan would fucking put me on a fucking spit and cook me over an open fire for saying so, but it's not good. It's really not. Um,
There's Dragon Quest is a franchise that my younger brother, has really fallen in love with. And like he's going back, he's playing all the older games and everything, and he's loving that, right?
mm,
My experience is I've only played really two Dragon Quest games. Like I beat 11S, right?
mm,
And I played 9 back in the day.
mm.
And I really
Which,
liked
which 9 is the previous one before 11, functionally. 10 was like an MMO or something.
it's just Dragon Quest 9. It was on the DS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um Sentinel of the Starry Skies, in which your character is essentially a guardian angel of a village who watches over them and protects them, and then bad things happen and you have to join the mortal world and descend to the realm of men and become one of them to save the world. And I remember really enjoying that game. I think some really solid RPGs, but I've not touched any of the super, super old ones.
Uh, I mean, like you say, you played 11S, so you presumably have played the Talkington stuff that is based very heavily on the super retro ones. Based on that, I would not recommend them, but you know, that's probably not an entirely fair indictment against them. Like that series probably evolved quite a bit, and I have to assume that the Talkington stuff was mostly based on like the one, two, three, like super classic stuff.
Yeah, no, that's based on like the old stuff. And um so you really just did not like that particular part of the game at all, huh?
No, and if I had to guess why, it's that old favorite of the JRPG standby. It's the random battle mechanic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the thing that they deliberately like
The thing that every
altered in the
JRPG has
game.
stripped out because it was always fucking awful. Yes.
Yeah, no. Okay, I completely understand for that part alone. I actually had like stripped that part of the game out of my mind until you brought it up. Um, but yeah, no.
Yes.
Random encounters suck.
So I got to I unlocked the one that is basically it's like I think it's a frozen cave or a heated cave or something, and it's all about like a sliding tile puzzle. So you stand on one and it starts taking you down a track, zigzagging through it and stuff, and you've got to figure out which path to take. Uh,
Yeah.
and that took me about 20 minutes of trying to figure out the trick, and there was a trick, and it was very annoying. But in that 20 minutes, I probably got like 8 levels because he kept throwing random battles at me, and they always sucked, and I hated every single one. And I hate that battle mechanic of how it's set up in the retro stuff. It's just awful. And I basically decided fuck this entire thing for
It's
that
really in
inflicting that upon me.
yeah, it's really interesting because even like remakes of older games that had random battles now all include an option to just turn them off.
Yep, which absolutely should. Yep, that is a good policy. There's the remake of 3 that came out. I don't know how that one plays. People apparently like it.
Yeah, I bought my brother that for I think that was a Christmas present. My daughter's birthday. But yeah, no, like that's apparently really good. It's it reminds me of gosh, what was it called? Live Alive. Yeah, Live Alive.
Hmm.
So Live Alive is a very unique game in which you play as several different characters, and each character has a completely different style of play. Because they're from a different timeline, different era, different world, basically. Well, it's just time. It's just basically different timelines. So, like, you have the robot in the future who's used to doing some amount of hacking, but also has to deal with like um, horror mystery of a spaceship where things are rapidly going wrong, right?
Hmm.
You have the character who's literally a fighting game character, and then you have a menu of characters that you fight, and you basically get their techniques as you beat them, right? And so there's no like random battle element at all until like far, far into the game where there's one character whose entire thing is it's a retro RPG. And
Uh,
I'm just like, okay, it wasn't present all the way up until this point, and now you bring it in here, and I can tolerate it for a bit because it's not a long chapter.
hmm.
I'm glad you didn't make me go through this the entire game.
Yeah. So sort of like, hey, this is a cool and inventive, just sort of journey through basically all of video games, and then you go with a shit one, and you realize, oh, this is the shit one, and then you realize, oh, this is the shit one. I actually hate this when games do this. Okay, thanks for letting me know that. I didn't know that about myself until now.
It's like I have a really hard time going back to older RPGs because of the random battles.
Mm.
Like I have a friend who's really, really into Golden Sun,
I have
and I
no
gave the
idea
original
about. I
Golden
have
Sun.
no idea about anything about Golden Sun. That is a complete blind spot in my gaming knowledge.
Yeah, um, it was one of Nintendo's big RPGs that they were trying to push back in the day, which they have kind of let fall to the wayside. But it was originally just handheld based, and you'd go around collecting these little genies that were basically you slot them in for powers and use them for summons and stuff like that. Um, but it has random battles, and as much as I like the story and such, I was just like, okay, I've realized it. I don't like old school classic RPGs with random battles. Like I'm fine if they're enemies in the overworld I can see, and then I have the option to choose to engage with them,
And
and then I
maybe
can actually
maybe
clear an area for a while.
and maybe have some sort of skill mechanic where you can have an advantage when choosing to engage with them that makes it feel natural and you know maybe.
Yeah, but it's the every two steps you have to stop.
Yep. Whatever you were trying to do, shut up. You're doing this now. We don't care if you don't need to. We
Completely.
don't care if you're already like really, really over level for this area. We've decided there's a fight now, and you're gonna fight it. Also, if you try to run away, fuck you. No, you're fighting this. That's been an odd thing that I've learned to really hate about Dragon Quest XI. Is hey, fleeing basically never works ever. It's maybe like a 1 in 4 chance of it actually succeeding.
Completely kills the pacing and makes you be like, okay, I was really not wanting to do this battle. I like the battle system, but now I'm starting to hate it because I'm forced to do it right now in this moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to get it back on the subject of the thing that I was saying I liked. I actually like Dragon Quest XI quite a bit. It's fun. I
It's a
like
good
the
game.
characters. It gets weirdly NTR for like a good like 20 minutes there in the middle of it for some reason. Like it's literally a hentai plot just gets dropped in an interlude and it's like that's very different from all these cutesy monsters and everything that's going on in the rest of the game. Okay.
Gotta love that casino, huh?
That was a thing. I read a wiki entry for it, and I talked to people that I was in a Discord server, and I was talking about it. I was like, yeah, this gets really weird and sort of like that one hentai series that we're not going to talk about. Uh, and then I played it, and it was like, wait, no, this is literally that one hentai series that I was talking about. It's not even just kind of like it; it is one for one. It's weird. Someone was a big fan, I have to imagine.
Yeah. Huh.
It's a choice. Like the rest of the game is not like that in the slightest. It is very cutesy. It is all, not even almost. It's kind of childish in a lot of the things that it does. To the point of the winners don't do drugs fable is oddly about a dude feeding people to a giant spider, and it's like, yeah, you did do that, but I mean, you feel bad about it, I guess. So it's cool. It's like, hmm, okay, this game has some weird morals and stuff, but okay. Uh, it's really fun and kind of surprising in a lot of ways. Um, I don't know. I've been having a good time with it. I've kind of had to put it on the back burner for reasons of, hey, I have shit to do. This week has been stressful, but yeah, that game is a good time, and I very much recommend it to anyone who has not played it. I have some neat mods on it for like returning the old character models and enemy models and all that stuff from the original Dragon Quest XI that had better ones, because 11S is literally the Switch version, which means everything had to be downgraded because it's the Switch version. So, oddly enough, the 11S Super Special Enhanced Edition has shitty textures and models. So, had to get that fixed.
Yeah.
And add in an interesting lighting engine that is really fucking cool. Uh,
I will say, when I played Dragon Quest 11S, um, I think my computer was shit anyway, so
hmm.
I didn't really even notice.
Yeah, I mean, as you're playing it, you probably don't. But like, if you look at the model side by side, it's like, yeah, okay. So
Mm.
with the enhanced lighting and stuff, it actually looks really really good. It's really cool. Uh, yeah. So I'm gonna get back to that. Sylvando is still the best character, just ever maybe. I love him so much. He is so great. I I did do the quest where you get him to go back and talk to his dad, and oh my, that
Yeah.
that whole thing is special. Uh, has some mildly suspect implications on views of how uh homosexuality works. Um, Sort of implying that it's contagious, which is a little don't like that. But you know, aside from that, he is just great, mincing, prancing, camp fun, and I love every second he is on screen. He's just a great,
Yeah.
wonderful person, and I love having him around.
I love Sylvando.
I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, in terms of gaming news, they did the Sony State of Play. Is that what they call it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing. I didn't care about any of it, except apparently they're doing a Dave the Diver crossover with Like a Dragon.
Isn't that interesting?
I've looked over the trailers, and the most interesting thing to me was the possibility of another Ape Escape game, or else it might just be another side mode in another Metal Gear Solid game. It wouldn't be the first time that they did that crossover.
Yeah, they sort
Overall,
of hinted at something, but
yeah, I don't know what they're going to do, but I do think Ape Escape is an underrated and kind of underutilized franchise that could use
here's
more
the
love.
thing about Ape Escape. That game came out on the PlayStation, and it might have been the first game on the PlayStation to require the DualShock controller,
Mhm.
because we rented it. Well, we rented a copied version piracy was so rampant that it was actually just in fucking rental shops. It was weird. It was a weird time.
Mm.
But yeah, we rented it, and it was like, oh yeah, you'd need this super special controller. I'm like, what? What? We had to take it back because it was weird. Literally couldn't play it. But yeah. I for that reason I know literally nothing about Ape Escape because I wasn't going to look at it again after that. Like, yeah, weird.
Ape Escape I rented once. So, yeah.
I never played much of the first game. The second and third for PlayStation 2, I have both those.
I've only played the first one. All I remember is being confused.
Yeah, it's a wacky sort of premise, a wacky sort of game. And it gets. I mean, on one hand, I hesitate to say it gets wackier as the series goes on, but on the other hand, the other two games introduced the quirky mini boss squad known as the Freaky Monkey Five, so I think it's kind of a safe bet for me to say that.
Freaky Monkey 5.
Uh-huh.
Powerful name.
I am. I will admit the games do seem a bit hollow at the end stage when all that's left to do is capture all of the apes you missed and then engage in the true final battle. But there's the framework for something really, really good there, and it's pretty enjoyable as is. So I'm just hoping that they do something with it.
Mm.
I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah. I mean,
But yeah, I looked at the other games that they advertised at State of Play, and granted, some of them did look like interesting games that I might be interested in, but nothing had me on the edge of my seat.
I will say
So,
one thing that did intrigue me, aside from the Dave the Diver and Like a Dragon crossover that turns it into Streets of Rage, and I'm just, whoa, okay. Dave the Diver continues his surprise into 2025. But the one other thing that did kind of was interesting was Onimusha. They're making a new Onimusha game, and they got licensed the likeness of, I think his name's Toshizo Mifune, who was one of the big actors for Kurosawa films. So that's kind of insane. Like that's some really, like, Seven Samurai and that sort of stuff. Like, he's a big deal. So it's kind of cool that they got his likeness for that. They were kind of okay with it. There's a clip of, I'm gonna see if I can get the clip of exactly what it was. Bear with me. Throne of Blood arrow scene. I'm just gonna kind of copy and paste that into the Discord chat so people can take a look. By the way, these are all real arrows shot by archers at a very terrified Toshizo Mifune. That film is actually a Macbeth adaptation, by the way.
Dang.
Yeah.
that must be some impressive armor.
Yeah. That
A lot
is
of arrows.
some good armor and some very, very well trained Kyudo practitioners. Japanese archery.
Yeah, understatement.
Yeah, those arrows are all real except probably the last one.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's a good movie. People should watch that movie, Throne of Blood. It's Kurosawa's Macbeth adaptation. It's very cool. He also did one for King Lear. He was very big on Shakespeare. Oddly enough, it's weird. Yeah, but that was a cool thing. I like that a lot. I'm not so keen on the dub deciding to make him British, which I am of the opinion that, like, hey, if it's not going to be Japanese, it doesn't really matter what accent he has. But it's a little odd, and I would probably just prefer to play it in Japanese. Like, I am definitely not a dub pure like subtitle purist. Like, play it in the original language or it's bullshit. You don't you don't get the real characterization of the characters if you're not listening to it in the original language. You don't know what the original language sounds like, you fucking nerd. But yeah, that whole thing is so pretentious. But in this case, it just kind of, you want it to feel authentic, even if you really don't understand what's going on. So that's one I'll be looking at least. Can't say I've been big on Onimusha as a series. Like I don't think I've played any of them. I think there's been like 3. Yeah, that was cool. There is also a Dynasty Warriors that is roguelike and like whatever. It is like $30 and the DLC is 40 or 50 or 50 for different costume packs. It's that's a Dynasty Warriors game, I guess. That's how we do. Was there anything else? There's a Sonic racing game that's coming out. Interesting timing on releasing a trailer for that. That is presumably coming out this year. One would hope before Switch 2 and the next Mario Kart, but
I saw the email for that, and I looked and I saw who's next to Sonic in this racing promo thing. Okay, 2 Sonics left, big and clearly visible, is Shadow the Hedgehog. Good. To the right is Knuckles. Okay. And there's Tails all the way in the corner. And I'm like, yep, no, Year of Shadow has been effective.
Hey,
Normally it would be Tails, Sonic, Knuckles up front, but nope, Shadow's in that spot now.
yeah. Hey, let me ask you a question. How do you feel about Sonic Riders?
Uh, depends on which one.
Yeah, because they're bringing that back in that game. They will let you
That's
play.
I like Sonic Riders actually.
It didn't play great, but I like the concept. But yeah,
It got better over the different versions they made of it.
yeah. They are adding a mode where you can play on the. I've forgotten what the boards are called, but you can ride the boards instead of having a car or whatever vehicle, and it has a different gameplay
Yeah,
mechanic for how it works, which is kind of cool.
that's fun. It's a different version of like, oh, motorcycle instead of cart in like, Mario Kart.
Hmm.
Get the board. I'm like, cool. That's fun. I like that.
I do have Sonic All Stars Racing Transformed, which is apparently one of the best kart racer games that exist. Uh,
I also own that game. I've not actually played it.
Neither have I. I do not know why I
We
own
sh
it, but I do, and I should try it at some
Do
point.
you want to play it together?
That could be cool.
Yeah, let's play it together.
Yeah, I'll have to find time. I can't think of anything else from State of Play that I care about. I'm trying. I got nothing. This is the Metal Gear Solid, but I don't fucking care. Yeah. Um. Aside from that, I don't think there's anything else worth talking about. I am burnt out as fuck in terms of like writing and stuff. So I've just been doing some fuck about projects while I get my let's call it breath back. Uh, and I'm gonna start like actually getting back into the swing of things as soon as this podcast recording is over, basically. And I have had fun with my government's disability thing of like benefits of trying to be like, hey, I I do work. I don't earn a lot, but hey, leave me alone. I'm disabled as fuck. Leave me alone. Um, like, okay, fill in this questionnaire so you can tell us about your disability. And it's like, okay, flipping through it. Okay, can you walk? Yes. Can you climb stairs? Yeah. Yes. Got to be careful about it, but yes, I guess. But you're only talking about movement and wheelchairs. And okay, that's that section. Let's move on to the next section. Okay, this is cognitive and psychological disorders. Do you have trouble learning new tasks? Well, yes, because 99.9% of the time I can't read the instructions, including this questionnaire, because you sent me in small print. And also can't like see any labels of anything ever and understand them. Uh, so where's the section on visual impairment in this questionnaire about disabilities? Oh, there isn't one. That's cool. Hmm.
Ugh,
Yeah.
that's
So
frustrating.
a little bit. So I've sent messages of like, hey, what the fuck do I do about this? Because I am very obviously disabled, but I don't have a place to tell you about it. So that's a frustration that I'm gonna have to deal with. It is entirely possible I'm gonna have to readjust some budgets on some things and see how that goes. Uh, but I have made calculations and I will be fine if I have to take such drastic measures. I'll be fine. It's just frustrating, is what it is. That's all.
It's infuriating, is what it is. It shouldn't be necessary. You would think that a government that's been doing something like this for centuries would know better.
Oh, I I had some fun with this. I like I said, it was too small print for me to read, and even smaller for me to have to write it. And I cannot write small because, surprisingly enough, that is also a visual thing. You have to be able to see what you're doing, or you're just gonna write fucking scrolls of nonsense. Um, but so for that reason, I went round to my mum's house and asked her to help me with it, and she's like, "Yeah, okay." She knows the score. She knows what she's doing. Um, and she told me like when I was born and everything, uh, all the literature on albinism, just all of it, was from 60 years before. So we're talking the 30s, I think that is. Yeah, the 1930s. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so they told her all kinds of fun stuff, like his hair is going to fall out and turn into like straw instead of actual hair. Uh, he is going to
What?
be mentally handicapped in very severe ways. He is going to be unable to do anything
Mm.
for himself and is probably just going to be an invalid by the time he's in his 20s or something like that. These were the experts and specialists, by the way, who were telling her this. Uh,
Ugh.
What a bunch of jokes.
that's just how it is when you have a rare genetic condition. It's just nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about, but very much likes to pretend to. That that sort of thing has kind of gone out of fashion at this point, where people actually decide to, hey, we should probably look into this and know things about this and have like a giant repository of medical information for how this sort of shit works. But in terms of government bureaucracy, they don't really care. They just don't like, want to deal with you at all. So yeah, fun stuff. But it's like I say, it's whatever. I'm kind of just dealing with it. It's fine.
It is.
Like I say, there's no point massively worrying about it because if I need to come off this benefit, I can, and I can manage, and I'll be fine. But it would make things a little
Yes.
easier. Is the thing. So
Principle
Mhm.
of the thing.
have you noticed that whenever I like decide to chime in and go last as the person to talk about stuff and their week and stuff, I always end on the shitty thing every single time.
You
And
know,
it makes everyone depressed or
maybe
angry.
maybe you should go with the bad news first.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, there's some stuff about my week that I did not share that was a little bit depressing,
Mm,
but I mean, that is what it is.
yeah. Like I say, from my perspective, this is annoying and shitty, but
Yeah,
it's it's not that big a deal. I guess telling other people about it, it seems worse than it is. It's not a big deal. It's just
you'll survive.
I'll survive, and it's just what you have to deal with sometimes. It's just how it goes.
Yeah. Well, hey, sorry I gotta deal with that annoying stuff.
Yeah. Thanks. So
And
hmm?
yeah. Uh I know we were like everybody's shared something, but can I quickly talk about a D&D thing I've been doing?
Oh boy. Okay.
So, in a game that I am DMing for, um, one of my players, um, signed a contract. They signed a deal with an ancient evil in their past, right? And that was backstory that I basically wrote for them because they gave me the whole like, oh, you come up with the hidden backstory for my character. They don't remember any of that, and I'm like, okay. And
Let me just ask.
a few months ago, we were like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if because of this, this, and this happened, your character gets abducted and turns into basically a boss fight later on?
Huh.
And they're like, yo, that sounds sick. And I'm like, and yeah, you can play like a temporary character, and they're super excited about it. They're super into it, right?
Hmm.
And so now they are exploring in this like super dungeon, and there's a team of bad guys that are after the party, and one of them is that PC, but now controlled and turned into like an NPC, and is now there's a lot of mystery and mystique over like what are they capable of now? Like, how can we possibly save them or rescue them from the influence of this evil god, basically?
Hmm.
And that's been really, really cool and really fun. Though I'm running into a problem, which is basically every week, um, the person who I agreed upon to do this is like, "Can I play my character now? I want to get my character back." Oh, I'm never gonna get my character back.
No.
Oh, I want to play my real character.
It's almost as if they didn't know what the heck they were getting themselves into. I mean, that much should have been obvious from the moment they handed the DM a blank slate and told them to go wild. These neophytes know not what they do. Have, have you, and how have you been dealing with his persistence?
Her, but it's been other players have been like, your character's in a very enviable position right now because they're getting so much narrative like juice going for them. And um I'm trying to like give some elements of here's some information that they know, but I can't give too much information because I don't want to spoil my own plot, my
Hmm.
own character stuff, my own reveals to this person.
Absolutely.
And partially part of that is because I know that this person um hates and is terrible at keeping secrets.
Mm, they're in the wrong game.
So
Well, the right game, but the wrong circumstance for it, I suppose.
so I'm like, I'm gonna separate this information. I'll give you some information that your character knows and that you can know, but I'm gonna have to cut off the like seeing behind the DM screen at a certain point, and they don't like that.
Hmm.
And I'm like, no, 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 it's on me. But this is my favorite character I've ever played. So I would like to. I'm just. It's frustrating to deal with.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The reason why this is your favorite character that you've ever played is because of the work that I've done to flesh out their backstory and put them in a cool circumstance like this. Like, I've done extensive work to make this sort of thing happen, and you want me to basically just end it, but then you don't want me to end it because you want it to keep. It's like, what do you want from me?
Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of
Well,
the awkward storyteller's curse kind of thing. Is like, hey, you want to have all of the reveals revealed, but also you want to keep the mystique going, and that's just literally every storyteller ever is just dealing with that struggle between those two extremes.
yeah.
And like I will have times in which I will take like storytelling risks with my, player characters.
Hmm.
Um, One character literally like decided that she was gonna essentially do something um everybody else is telling her not to, that causes her character to split in half, and one half becomes essentially a ghost of herself and the other half becomes a life-sucking monster that goes and starts killing a bunch of people.
Hmm.
And that permanently changes the character and the dynamic of that character. And she loves it, right? Absolutely loves it. Um, Another character, like, this is not the first time I've had a character turn against the party temporarily and join the enemy side for a little bit. But it's just that this time um, anytime the player who is tied to this character feels bad, I feel like they take it out on me.
Hmm.
It's like you took agency away from my character. It's like I'm giving you a lot of agency, and we also both agreed on this thing.
Yeah, they made the call, and this is like it was also a call that literally everyone was telling them not to make. It's
You have been without this character for 3 sessions,
how often are the sessions?
bi-weekly,
As in every 2 weeks, or as in twice a week?
every 2 weeks.
That's that. In fairness, that is a long time in real time. But
Yes.
that doesn't make it entirely okay. But I can understand the frustration.
Still, I am still providing like side RP stuff with them for that character that nobody else gets to see.
They
Like,
just need to have a little more patience.
Uh-huh.
yeah, basically. Uh, um, I always like to do, as a storyteller and as a DM, um, you want to do things that have a lot of meaning and a lot of like transcends the system in a way. And sometimes those work out great, and other times it does not. And what I found is really it depends a lot on the relationship that you have um, with those players. And even
Right.
then, even if you have a great relationship with those players, if that player just does not like, they're just like, no, I don't want to do it.
If
I don't
if
want to do
if
it
they
anymore.
if
I'm
they
bored.
don't vibe with doing the the extra like sort of sideways from the game stuff, then they just don't sometimes, and that's just kind of a thing you have to go with. Is hey, I'm here to play my character with all these other characters, and that's just what I want to do, and I don't want to do the cool thing. And on a certain level, that's kind of you've got to know what your players want and then give it to them as the
If
DM. Unfortunately, that's
if it
just
was as simple, the thing that bothers me
mm,
is it's not as simple as I don't want to do this thing anymore. Give me my character back, right?
mm,
If they said that, fine. I'll do it, right?
yeah.
But it's very like, but I want to have the cool thing and be cool. But I also want to have my character back. But also, I want you to do the thing. But also, I want it
Yeah.
with a lot of passive
I'm
aggression thrown in.
I'm reminded of Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Life's full of tough choices, isn't it? It's about that same level of sarcasm, facetiousness that's needed in this circumstance. This person, they got exactly what they asked for, and now.
I don't think that would be especially beneficial to solving the problem of like it's
Oh,
a very
I'm not.
adversarial stance. It would be to say something like that. But yeah,
Well, I absolutely agree. I'm not saying this is something that should be said. Not so tactlessly, in any case. But am I wrong, though?
Yeah, it is very much the itchy and scratchy focus group of, hey, you want the way it was before, but also you want something brand new and do something different, but also you want it to be exactly as it was before. Cool. It's helpful information. Thanks for your input.
Yeah. And it's like, I, if you don't want to do it, I can end it right now and we can have a non-satisfying climax to this thing I set up. And that's fine. That's what you want. Or we can let it play out the literally like one or two more sessions it will take for this entire arc to come to a head.
Well, then absolutely just a little bit more patient. Yes, it's a lot, but it's almost over.
But every time they're like talking about it's like, I'm not gonna get back my character for like months and like till the end and I might not ever get them back. And I'm like, my gosh. Oh
Melodramatic.
my gosh. It's exhausting.
Hmm.
Yep. And after you put in all this work for it,
Yeah. I've created a bunch of characters. I've done multiple RPs with this player solo that nobody else got to see so they could still play their character. And and it's not enough. So, yeah.
I can't. There's really nothing else I can say. That's just. If that's disappointing.
And like it's it's the sort of thing where they worked with another player to make their like backup character that comes in, right?
Hmm.
And they're like, oh, this player is this character that I'm coming in with. I'm really excited about. They are like best friends with this character. They're from their hometown, and we can work on that. And then like that other player helped them a lot making this backup character and did a lot of work to help incorporate them. So whenever they're trash talking the backup character that they brought in, that pisses off that person that helped them.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's like we've had multiple long like conversations, and I've done a lot of work to try to help you with this thing, and it's just, oh, guess it's not my real character. So, uh,
You truly seem to have the patience of a saint to go through all of this. And this is coming from someone who calls himself a saint.
thank you. Um,
I was expecting that to go
it's
in a different direction, and this is coming from someone who calls himself patient. Nope, saint. Okay.
yeah, no, it was like I feel like last session we got past some of that, but even then, like one NPC was mean to their character and they were just immediately going back to oh, belly aching complaining again. And like the NPC was mean to most of like the pretty much the entire party. So it wasn't like targeted either.
Hmm.
Oh, what you gonna
Yeah.
do? D&D is fun, DMing is fun, but I've been DMing some very long games for a long time, and there's this feeling of, you know, maybe I think this one over here should end.
Hmm. Well, look, as someone who has written a lot of stories and gotten very frustrated with readers that got impatient or got the opposite of impatient and wanted the thing to keep going or wanted the thing to end and just move on, and I'm trying to set up things and I'm trying to build things up to do interesting stuff, and I'm just like, no, this is boring. I want to go back to doing the I feel you.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
that's
I
basically how it is.
I sympathize. It's mm,
It's like I'm just trying to tell a good story here. Um, like I'm even planning when they get their character back, that character will be stronger than they were before.
mm,
Like it's a thing that they'll be able to. Yeah, what you can do.
Yeah. Like I I can remember multiple circumstances of like, okay, you're so sick of it. Okay, fine. I'll just fucking slap a big fucking dump on top of the story and do something weird and nonsensical. And then everyone's like, "Oh yeah, it's super cool." And then either it ruins the story, which has happened a couple times, or it really really works, and they get hyped for it, and that's great for them. And then I just kind of have to deal with the fallout of what the fuck did I just do on just like frustration of dealing with these people. I love all of it, but oh my god, sometimes it leads me to do some dumb things, and mm, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
trying to put together a story whether
understandable.
just for one other person or for 100, it's always an exercise in frustration in whatever direction you're trying to take it.
You have usually like a couple of different types of players. You have players that are similar to how you have different readers. You have players who are like, all right, give me the debuffs. I want my character to lose an eye. And if it gives them a mechanical debuff they have to work through, that's cool. Do fun stuff like that. Make my story unique, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Then you have players who are like, I'm just really here for the combat. I don't care about RP or playing a character that much. I just want to go be able to bonk things. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. You're easy to deal with.
yeah.
And then you have the players who are really, really, really into the RP, but they just want to be cool.
Mm.
Like, this is my character. I want them to be the one that gets the attention. I want them to
I
be
want
the
to be the
one
main
that is
character.
cool. Yes. I want to be the one that gets to go on multiple hour-long angsty scenes in which I talk about my tragedy.
Yeah. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I am probably a little from column A and a little from column C, or a lot from column C,
Yeah.
which is why I don't really do the whole fucking D&D thing anymore. It's like, I'm an annoying piece of shit. I'm just not going to do this stuff anymore.
Part of playing D&D is learning how to mitigate C, at
Yeah.
least a little bit, because you're not the main character. You're one of a party.
Yeah. I mean, everyone will have their chance to shine in the way you want, but you have to be patient before and after your turn.
Yeah. I have some players where they're just like, okay, you're in the middle of a hall in a dungeon. I'm not going to let you sit here and talk about your traumatic experience for an hour right now without sending monsters at you. You're not in a safe area. Do not do this right now while you're adventuring. Save it, please. I beg you.
Yeah. That sort of thing is made for making camp, or just like a boss fight is about to happen and characters are monologuing at each other. Sure, do a little one about you, I guess. Sure, go for it. But like,
When you
just
have when you have 3.5 to 4 hours of a session, like on a bi-weekly basis, having an hour-long conversation about one character is a waste of time.
yeah, a little bit.
Mm,
No, everybody has to kind of share the stage. Um,
Keep
I've
it
kind of
brief.
lost the plot on what I was talking about.
If you want to do that sort of thing, you want to like have a big old chinwag about your character. Keep it brief. Just like be
Yeah,
respectful of everyone else's time and don't waste it for the sake of your vanity. Like if you keep it brief and just keep it to the point and don't waste everyone's time, other players might find it cool. But if you start wasting everyone's time and just keep going on and on and on because you think you're the main character, everyone's just going to think you're annoying even if your character is cool.
something that gets me is that there's players who will basically session one spew their entire backstory, and then nobody really reacts to it because the other characters don't know you yet. They don't know
mhm.
why a lot of this is important,
Hmm.
and then they get upset. But you gotta use your backstory sparingly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
You only get to do those reveals once.
Yeah, like I played for like a year in a campaign before I revealed that my character was actually lawful evil the entire time.
Yeah.
And like every single time he had been away from the party, he was murdering people.
Wow. That's not especially lawful, but fair enough.
Well, the
Yeah,
people were he was a prince, and the people were like traitors to the kingdom or invaders from another country.
Hmm.
okay, that context makes a lot of difference, but still,
But like he had no mercy for them, um, taking their lives into his own hand, following his own code, and maybe has a pact with an evil god or demon. Not even he knows.
uh,
But he kept that under wraps
Yeah.
for like a long, long time.
Yeah.
that seems like the kind of thing that you shouldn't be able to keep under wraps for that long.
Well, I mean, depends on if
Was
they're
this
good at it, and like I say, half of the fun in that circumstance is trying to keep it hidden,
Yeah,
because if players start getting suspicious, and they might, then they might start calling you on some shit. But if you keep it
yeah.
close to the vest, then you get to keep doing it right under their noses for a long time, and then the reveal is even sweeter because they had the chance
Because
to call you on it and they didn't.
like for the longest time, it's like, oh, he's the asshole bastard prince, right? He's a jerk, but he really does have a soft spot for people, and he's helping us through this whole emergency situation. And then from the other side, it's like this is all self-interest.
You were playing Lelouch Lamperouge.
Yes, I was, and then they just learned that I was. I literally like I got into a scene in which my character got to stab his father and his to put him out of his misery, and his father was okay with it. And then he took his dad's crown and convinced his sister, who was the crown princess, to share the throne with him. And now, after he has that throne, essentially is like, oh yeah, by the way, I made a pact with an evil god.
so to clarify, was this hidden from the party
This
or
was hidden from
from
the
the
party
player?
and the players, hidden from both.
That must have been a sweet reveal.
It was. And it recontextualizes everything that he has said and done up until that point.
Yeah, yeah, that's impressive.
Thank you. Um, I literally like he was a paladin basically. It was Pathfinder 2e.
A Black Knight, you could
So
say.
after that paladin, after that reveal, I was like, DM, can I swap my tenets of good to the tenets of evil finally? Like there we go. That actually fits the character now.
Hmm.
Now I can show that. And again, you can play an evil character without them being destructive to the party.
Hmm.
Uh huh. It's all a matter of mutual benefit.
Yeah, they can cooperate with the party. They can even help them or save their lives, right? They can do good acts if those good acts are motivated by self-interest or other means.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like a lot of players in D&D want to just not delay any gratification.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, you
I,
know,
good.
this is tying into the aforementioned. Here, I thought I was going to escape uh, turning this episode depressing at the end by getting into the really dark stuff that's been going on with me this week. But no, this is tying in very intimately with the core of my struggles. Just, it feels like a couple of mountains that I have to overcome and a constant sacrifice along the way, just continuing to walk every day, continuing to abstain from food every day, and continuing to slog through the emotional the emotional mire of going through getting to the bottom of my past trauma, which comes with a lot of tears and such. It's hard to consider the end result worth it, even though it really, really is worth it just to bear with it, grit your teeth, let the little cuts roll off your skin, and just enjoy a banquet
Fast food.
instead of this one scrumptious mouthful.
Yeah. Um, and it's hard to do that in a setting in which you are letting other people, like you're watching other people do that, right? You're letting them take the spotlight, and you're kind of having to hold yourself back of being like, oh, hey, this character has this secret that nobody knew about. That's so cool. Oh, hey, this character had that. Wow, I can react to that, talk with that. Um, Similarly, like when you go out to eat and other people can order the big meals and you have to limit yourself
Mm.
instead of joining in. Um, Delayed gratification doesn't feel good in the moment, but it feels good in the long run, right?
It feels amazing in the long run.
Yeah. Um, like when I was going hard on my diet, I lost 40 pounds, you know?
Mm.
I've kind of gained them back, but
It happens.
but not in the same way though.
Mm.
Because before I lost them, I my muscles had atrophied a lot.
Mm.
Now my muscles aren't atrophied, so it's not really as much as like all that weight is fat.
Yeah.
It's now just a mix.
Muscle is heavier
And I
than fat.
mean,
That's just how that works.
yeah, yeah.
And you know, uh, in the role playing scene, um, which if Slice of Work here could probably talk about LARPing, but he's not
Uh-oh.
here, alas.
Yeah.
Um, it's the stories that you hear the most are like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this whole time, right?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something very special in that.
Yeah.
Which- And which is why also like my player who's like, oh, but I want the cool thing, but also I want to play my character, and I'm just
Oh,
like, please wait.
I have such a story for that actually. No, think about it.
Yeah.
Like I say, storytelling a lot, doing all that shit. Um, Running the One Piece quest that I was running a couple of years ago, and I've sort of picked up again, but it's also very difficult to get to it with all the other stuff I'm doing. But I had this whole elaborate plot filled out for this one island, which became a little bit infamous because it was kind of a cool idea. Which was an island that was basically overrun by terrifying killer emu, which is
Mm.
a very One Piece thing. Like people tried to colonize it at one point, but like the emu had a sort of kind of like a guardian deity, but it was just an emu that ate a devil fruit that turned it into a giant bear. Um, but like I had this whole elaborate backstory for how that whole thing worked, and you know people could find the devil fruit and figure out where it would be and all that sort of stuff and piece it together. And there was this whole elaborate backstory for the guardian deity kind of thing. They kind of just skipped past all of that entirely accidentally and just kind of got the reveal of, hey, this devil fruit is a giant bear. And they were kind of pissed at that because it didn't feel thematic. It didn't feel like it fit to anything of what was going on in that particular plot line. So like,
Hmm.
God, it had to have been like 6 months later. I had other characters go to the island in an interlude, and they got to see the entire backstory of how all that stuff worked. And the amount of, oh, that's what was oh my God, that's so fucking cool. The amount of reactions like that I got, like when everyone in the thread had been pissed at me for the entire time, and then suddenly they get the clarification of all the stuff that they had just accidentally missed. Oh, it was a weird sort of vindication that only sort of was a salve against all the bullshit that they kind of put me through while it was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like okay. So to tell story, um, with this same player in a previous campaign, their character went through a serious trial of their character, lured with a temptation of power, a temptation to become the most special and the most powerful. Just have to become a demon lord to do that,
Hmm.
and is assured, "Oh, don't worry, there won't be anything bad that comes from this. Do not worry."
I'm
When
totally
the
not
other
buying
players are
it.
like, when the other players are like, "You should not do this. Why are you listening to Asmodeus?" Um,
Is,
that player
isn't Asmodeus
then,
like the Prince of Lies or something?
Right,
yes,
exactly.
this player then takes the deal, gets the demon lord powers, and everything then turns to shit for them. And I remember they threw a fit. They were so upset over that. And I'm like, what did you expect? Trust me, this is going to be a good story in the end. All right? And
Granted, it's going to
long
be a good
story short,
story of you being the stupidest motherfucker, but still.
long story short, they go through a whole arc of trying to, remember who they were before this temptation of power and losing basically everything. And their friends still come to rescue them in the end. And that player now looks back and says, that arc was like my favorite thing you've ever done. And I think back and I'm like, oh, it didn't feel like that at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I say, I can relate to that one. Yep.
Like, yep, you sure love it in hindsight
That's
because you can see the full picture now.
that's the thing. It only looks good looking back on it because in the like I mean that's why books are written as books and not just chapter by chapter unless you're on a fucking online fanfiction forum. Uh, it's because that just works better. Like if there's more story right now, then people can just get through the bad shit knowing that it's going to be like going somewhere. If you
Yeah,
don't have that immediate understanding that this is going somewhere, then it's harder to swallow.
what comes down to you need to trust that I know what I'm doing and I'm trying to tell a good story here.
Um,
Please.
so many of the worst things that can
Into the mic.
happen because of faithlessness.
Could you be closer to the mic? We didn't hear you very well.
My apologies. I said so many of the worst things that can happen come to pass because of faithlessness. Letting your fears and doubts get the better of you is only going to lead to trouble for everyone, yourself included.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's a good, nice little bitch sesh that we've just had there for a second. Yeah,
Yeah, I just need to let that out
yeah,
because, oh,
just a little event. I mean, you know, it feels good to talk about the thing that I talked about there for a second. Because
mm-hmm.
like I say, it sticks with you. It sticks with you, even if it turns out great. It fucking sticks with you.
Like the other people will get past it,
Hmm.
but you, as the person who had to endure everything, as the person who made the thing, are like, I still don't feel great about it.
Hmm.
Like literally during that arc, I literally thought I should just quit the game. I should stop DMing. I'm not having fun.
Hmm. Yeah. How about that?
The same thing with writing, right? I
Hell,
should just stop. It's not worth it.
hell, I'm kind of going through the same thing right the fuck now with one of my quests. I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
that's the worst possible one that you could roll. Cool. I have to do something with that. Oh, if I play it 100% straight, that's the end of the quest. I will do a slightly different thing so the quest doesn't end. How dare you do this slightly differently? I don't understand where this is going, and I'm scared. Like, it's fair enough, but come on, can you not take it out on me, please? Please don't take it out on me. I'm really trying to make something fun. Please.
Yeah, that's how it feels. Gosh. Even though I don't write fan fiction anymore, it feels like I am at times. Which I have been feeling that call to go back and do it. But like I've not had the time to really do any extra writing.
Yeah, I mean, still writing. Like D&D is still writing.
Yeah,
Like,
I still am, and I write a lot for that setting because it's my original setting. Like
Critical
I
Role
built
has
everything.
3 TV shows basically at this point.
Yeah. I I wrote a 50-page side story for one character, that like one NPC, and everybody liked it. That side story doesn't make any sense though without the campaign or knowledge of the setting. Like it's very much like closer to novella style, you know?
Yeah. I do remember the one time I DM'd a game, which I was terrible at, by the way, for my sister because she wanted. I think it was her birthday. She wanted to do a D&D session. I'm not the person she should have asked, but she literally had no one else to ask because she's a shut-in just like I am. Um, and she asked for help with character creation and writing backstories. I'm like, okay, I can throw something together. So I write like a 2-page thing of like a fairly standard, but with a couple of quirks backstory for her and her husband's characters. And they're like, oh, so when you said you write for a living, I guess you actually write for a living, huh? Which was kind of gratifying. So that was neat. Like, it's still writing either way. Like, and either way, it would be a hobby. So fuck it, do whatever you want to do, dude.
Yeah. It's very good practice. I write on the regular. It's just not publicly available. Though I do want to make it publicly available at some point.
Mm.
I actually got a commission done for one of my villains from the game.
Hmm.
And I can post that in chat for you guys to see later. If I can find it. Um, but yeah, no, I got into commissioning things recently, and it's been great. Um, here, posted in recording chat so you take a look. I've found out how to pay artists to make me things, and I feel great.
Yeah, the big sticking point for that is finding the right artist, is my understanding.
Oh,
I know artists who know artists that recommend me artists.
That is a good network to have. I am jealous. Can you share that network with
I can send some artists your way if you want.
me? How stringent are they in terms of content?
I think some of them have NSFW clauses
Okay, cool.
of whether or not they're allowed or not. Good to see.
Yeah, it is a start, which is not what I have at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, I think of
Um,
artists, I know one who does basically just AI stuff, but he's really good at it, in fairness. And one who does a very particular thing I'm not especially into, and doesn't seem to do much else. Which, fair enough for them, but doesn't really help me.
Here, Casey, this is the artist of that commission I just shared with you. Yeah, I discovered this website, VGen, so I've been using it to commission things.
Oh, that's very nice. Is that did they do the whole thing, or like is background and everything?
Yes. I sent them references and they did exactly how I wanted it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
commissioning art is always an enjoyable thing to do.
It's very expensive, is the one issue. Yeah, that's just how it is.
Well,
Yes.
there is.
It depends though on like what you want. If you want to like half body, it's less. A full body, it's more. That
Yeah,
sort of
if you want
thing.
it sketched or like full line art and like colored and inked and
Yeah.
all that stuff. It's different price structures for all that stuff and things. Also, you have a different username than I remember. Because
What?
you messaged me directly. I only ever see you as zero because it's a server.
Yeah, no, that's when I had to swap over to the new Discord style. I picked the one that I used on a different server
Uh,
because trying to get
Zero is a bit generic, yes, in fairness.
yes. And I also wanted to get away from my old Xbox Live gamer tag because that's what it was.
Hmm.
King of Zero X is my old Xbox Live gamer tag.
Oh. I think, yeah, I bought Minecraft recently. By the way, I tried the new version of Minecraft recently. That's not really worth talking about, but I thought I'd mention it. Just as an aside, because I did actually change my gamer tag recently from what it used to be, which was the email address that I had when I was 15, which I still have, uh, to what I actually use now, what I go by now. So,
Yeah. If you want, you can set nicknames for people in Discord too. So, like, if you want to just be able to see me as Zero, you can.
yeah. Anyway.
It's called add friend nickname. Yeah. So we have been yammering on Patreon stuff. Big thanks to James MacArthur, Hits at 21, Vale, Greek Guy, Ethan F, and the Crossbrain for your support for us for the last month. Thank you very much.
Yeah. We apologize for yammering for 2 hours. It's probably going to be like an hour and a half for like curtailing the silences, but it's a long one. It is what it is.
I mean, end of the day, it is like it's basically just a normal podcast length.
Yeah,
TBH. We've just gotten used to them being short, but originally we went on for like 3 or 4 hours.
yeah. Uh, yeah. So feel free to throw this on while you're doing fishing in DZZ because that's again literally what I've been doing while I've been playing this. I got almost all the rare fish, by the way.
Hmm.
It's been a good 2 hours. Very productive. Uh,
Very nice.
so yeah, we can close that out now. I think. Thanks for listening. Discord, Patreon links in the description. If you feel like it. Bye everybody.
Later.